Hello, I'm Stuart Gipp, and I'm a video games man. Stuart Gipp in Video World is the narcissistically named YouTube show I've dedicated my evenings and weekends to over the past year, and this video you're watching right now is a 45-minute compilation of what I have selfishly deemed to be the best of it. What is Video World? It's basically a magazine show about gaming, gamer culture, and video games, mostly the latter. My focus is really on my relatively broad taste in games, a taste some would define as shit. But really, I just like video games, and I feel like it's increasingly important to share that with the world and with each other. I also like frogs, chimps, and being bad at drawing. Enjoy the show. Ladies, gentlemen, others, let's talk about liking games. In order to like games, I feel like it's important to like games. And I don't just mean the cream of the crop, the absolute best software of all time, the pinnacles of the medium. I mean games, as a thing, all games. Taking each and every game as the chance to have a damn good time. It's cool, God, I feel silly saying this, but it's true. It's cool to go on the internet and just shit on mid-tier games. It's cool to get attention by being as scathing as possible, and I've had fun doing it. It's fun to be scathing. I was talking with a friend of mine about this segment as I was planning it, and I mentioned the Game Grumps video about Super Alfred Chicken for SNES. They put it out a little while back, and it's just them taking a big dump on the game. And my friend said something like, "Man, you're still annoyed about that video. You really hold a grudge." And then I thought about it, and I went, yeah, kinda, I do, because it's the antithesis of my approach to video games, and what I appreciate about them. I mean, they did this video, and it's entertainment, sure, I get that. But they played that game, and they didn't attack an enemy, they didn't seem to care to find out how, they didn't care what the goals were, or how the basic elements of the game were made up, and how they interacted with each other. And then they put out this 10-minute or whatever bitch fest, where they just lay into it spuriously, in my opinion. And you know, that's fine too. That would all be fine if Game Grumps wasn't absurdly popular, heavily watched, and probably the only exposure that a generation has, or ever will have, to games like that. And if the game's mentioned, it's going to be like, hey, isn't it that shit game the Game Grumps hated? And that's it, forever. The game's gone. It's just been replaced as an entity by an uninformed opinion. And it kind of does piss me off. I hate that. It's not even about that game specifically, although obviously I like that game. But this whole, thousands and thousands of games just potentially getting erased this way. I search YouTube for Alfred Chicken, and this is like video 2. This is the game's future. This is its representation. It makes me sad. As someone who likes games, I think it's a shame. Some stuff's difficult to get a handle on. Some games don't come out of the gate too strong. We have to let them warm up and show their good side. You got to give them a chance, Criticise, sure. Even be facetious if you want. It's just entertainment. But there's no better way to say it. Lower your standards, or you lock out a lot of good stuff. Because, just because an internet man says a game is a shitload of fuck doesn't mean you can't see for yourself. Jim Power on Steam. Jim Power, The Lost Dimension in 3D, is on Steam. What the fuck? Why put this out? Jim Power on Steam. Jim Power. Who gives a shit? Who wanted this? What a world we live in. Someone went, hey, we should put out Jim Power, a game nobody likes because it's fuck awful. It makes you vomit just to look at it. The parallax is backwards and the wrong speed. Nobody wants or likes it. We should put it out. But not only should we put it out, we should include the SNES version too, and also a patched sort of fixed SNES version where the parallax works right, but it's still the same game, so shite anyway. We should release that. We should fund and release that. Oh, and be like, fans, we'll be patching in the unreleased Mega Drive version because you've been crying out for that. So it's like the definitive Jim Power. They put more effort into Jim Power on Steam than Nintendo put into the Mario All-Stars re-release for the Wii. Jim Power! Give them the treatment it deserves. Jim Power. The Criterion Collection. Jim Power. What the fuck is even happening with Steam? Why is... Jim Power! Why? This week's frog is Pogo, from the Amiga Classic Nebulous and the NES Classic Castellian. They are the same game. Pogo is, in my opinion, a significant frog. Look, there he goes up a tower. Join me next time for more of the history of frogs in video games. There have been a lot of WWE games over the years, and being a relatively recent convert to the pro wrestling fandom, I think now's the time for me to do a quick rundown of them, step into the squared circle and let's journey together through the many WWE video games released on almost all consoles in Video World's Guide to WWE Games. They're all shit. All of them. Shit. Sierra games get treated like crap online. Eternal second fiddle to LucasArts, admittedly good if you like that sort of thing, adventure games with no damn teeth. Oh, it's bad because you might die, yeah? Get good. Oh, if you don't pick up the silverfish at the beginning of the game, you can't finish it because the silverfish acolytes won't let you into their dungeon without it. Oh, just get good. A game isn't bad because it tricks you. That's awesome. When was the last time a game just stuck its middle finger in your face like, fuck you, you fucking dick. You want to win? We'll get fucking good. And don't say like Dark Souls, because that's cradling the softest lamb compared to Sierra games. God, I love those games. I love Sierra. I love you. I love you, Sierra. I want to kiss you. Come here. Oh, please, Sierra. Okay, alright, fine. Yay! Okay. Hey, chimp, have you seen my car keys anywhere? Fucking chimp. When I saw this screen, I knew I was in for a good time, and a lot of my time playing on the PC growing up was spent on Apogee Software's platformers. In fact, a lot of it is even today, because as far as I'm concerned, these games hold up really well, and they exemplify a style in both art and design that's almost entirely lost. Here are 5 of my favourite Apogee games. And 1. Crystal Caves is a really ugly game, but there's a charm to said ugliness, and a charm to its very archaic exploration/collection focused gameplay. You can pick any level in any order, basically, and your mission is to collect every gem. Usually this involves finding keys to open doors, switches to activate moving platforms, and carefully manoeuvring around the many things that want to kill you. Your ammo is incredibly limited, and a misplaced bullet could hit an air tank, instantly ending your life. Crystal Caves is a harsh mistress, but as with any mistress, if you treat her just right, you'll find her caves very oh, who writes this shit? 2. Hocus Pocus is a button-mashy platform blaster that actually feels a little bit like a side-scrolling Heretic sometimes. If you haven't played Heretic, well, stay tuned for episode 8. Anyway, yeah, it's good. The scrolling is a little bit jerky, but not a huge amount, and superior to a lot of other DOS games, including some of Apogee's own, like Cosmo's Cosmic Adventure. My only problem with it really is that being more arcaded than the others, there are some more arcadey bits like lines of enemies appearing directly on top of you, which can feel unfair, but as long as you play it smart, it's great stuff. 3? Monster Bash is a bit of a tour de force, frankly, graphically and in terms of gameplay. You are Johnny Dash. You are a singularly annoying little shit, presumptuously assuming he can liberate the world's pets from evil. Why do children think they should be doing things besides being quiet? Anyway, this game is absolutely rammed with secret hidden areas and items and ooh, that's the sugar papa like. It's also hilariously all over the place tonally, this cutesy little game, and then you shoot a skeleton with a catapult and it explodes into jibs of wet gore. Brilliant. Get this blinder on your PC. 4. Biomenace is fucking great. You play as literally Chuck Norris and you have to explore complex, expansive stages, machine gunning cute little blobs into more honking jibs, brilliant, and collecting dozens of hidden items in, you get it, numerous super secret stashes. The level design is excellent throughout, with levels large enough to be tackled one session at a time, and never feeling convoluted for the sake of it, unlike Crystal Caves, say, which can be a slog at times. It controls well, the scrolling is smooth like butter, and ammo conservation feels important, but not frustratingly so. If you run out of ammo, you can still fire the gun in short bursts, so you have to play carefully or just go hog wild with the grenade. Biomenace, what a game! 5. Realms of Chaos is a truly badical fantasy platformer, and I believe it's Apogee's final side-scroller. You control heroic fantasy man or sexy fantasy lady, well, it is a video game, and explore exciting fantasy lands like dungeon, forest, and other dungeon. Man attacks with a sword, lady attacks with projectiles, but the projectiles are much weaker. Tactics, I guess. It's a cracker of a game, and very difficult. It has the best play control of the lot, the nicest, most cohesive graphics, and the smoothest movement. Maybe it's a smidge too difficult for its own good in places, but it's a fun time. Oh, and you can buy it on GOG.com. Wait, you can buy all these games on GOG.com. Hey GOG, how about some fucking money? Game & Watch Gallery is a series of 4 titles for the Game Boy family, released between 1997 and 2002, and they're pretty much the best things ever. They take the old Game & Watch LCD games that helped put Nintendo on the map, and spruce them up with Mario bits in order to make them more palatable to the grizzled modern gamer. They're no more complicated than the sort of Tiger Electronics LCD games based on popular movies, but cleverly designed and with a challenge that mounts up subtly until it's absolute carnage and there are babies everywhere and they're all going to die! You did that! You tell the mother that her monkey's son is dead! The first 3 are available on the 3DS Virtual Console for some pitiful amount of money, and I think that the 4th one, Game & Watch Gallery Advance, is on the Wii U Virtual Console, but I don't know that for a fact and I'm not checking. Anyway, they're all absolutely worth it. They're quality products with great games and plentiful unlockables, and they don't get nearly enough respect in this world of MIP mapping and Motion Plus. They don't include the watch bit of Game & Watch though, so they can all quite frankly fuck off. Nintendo are doing a tiny NES. That's good, isn't it? Everyone's well excited. Well, almost. I'm too afraid that if I buy one I'd accidentally sit on it and it'd go fully up me, but I suppose I could just pull it out by the controller. But what if the pad's not plugged in? Then it's fucking lodged in there, isn't it? I'm stuck with a NES up my arse. That's not shifting without a fight. Christ, I hope it never comes out now. The NES is a release, not the theoretical NES up my arse. I do hope that comes out. Mega Man Battle Network 2 is complete horseshit. I can't remember the last time a game wasted my time with such brazen abandon. Like, oh yeah, no, you have to run over here with a random battle every 15, maybe 10 seconds. Then the guy you speak to is like, yeah, so actually you need to go and speak to the first guy. So you go back to the first guy and it takes like 5 minutes, sure, but it's these winding, samey roads and 10 more random battles and you just run from them because for Christ's sake, you know? And then you get to the guy and the next piece of the puzzle is back where you came from, buddy, but, you know, a little bit deeper. And it's so confusing too because as mentioned, the maps look like this, and that's just the net areas. You also have to go around the overworld, and it's just, it never seems to end. As the game goes on, the missions get increasingly convoluted in terms of these steps. There's a mission near the end of the game that goes on for 3 hours, and all it is just running between these 2 same areas, pretty much. And you've been to them all before, and the clues for what to do are basically just, I mean, there's a hint button, but when you press it, it's just this Kid Lamb with his face, and his hint is just, Mega Man, we need to do a thing, and you're all, well, that's the hint? Mega Man, something's up here, something's going down, and that's all you get. And you could be like, no problem, I'll just commit to the NPC who issued the task to memory. But all the NPCs look the same. Like all the net areas and everything else. The storyline and dialogue are blaring nonsense. It's absolutely baffling. It's the most ludicrous, childish drivel. And then suddenly you're in a foreign country getting robbed and exploring the ghetto. I'm not even joking. They start talking about being oppressed minorities. And I'm like, sorry mate, what was that? I thought I was playing a game for children. Oh, a plane hijacking. When did this game come out again? 3 months after 9/11. Yeah, okay. And of course I played it for 13, 14 hours because I'll be damned if I'm going to get this far only to give up. So I finished it. I slogged through the final mission, which by the way was no challenge, it was just long. There was no gameplay really, just running back and forth for ages. And then I thought, well, this must be absolutely slated. So I looked online, and there are all these positive reviews, all praising the game's systems, the battle system, which is interesting and unique. It is, it's definitely good. And you have this sort of almost card game thing going on. There's a deck building element. The cards can be mixed. Well, it's legit, you know. I have no issues with the battle system, but the skeleton it's built around is trash. The actual RPG, the exploration, the adventure here is appalling. And I don't understand people who say otherwise. Obviously their opinion's theirs, I'm not trying to detract from that. But it's like, you know how you have some things that you just don't understand contrary opinions of? Like for me, Battle Network 2 is great, is up there with, say, oh, the Mega Drive Sonics are all bad. In terms of sending me into raving incredulousness, So we have this ludicrous storyline mixed with a really deep, complex card game system. I understand when a single mechanic or system or metagame is compulsive enough to push you through utter banality. After all, Pokemon is very popular. But Battle Network 2 just seemed like a step too far. You don't know frustration, tedium, until you've tried to remember how you're supposed to get from Den Area to Koto Square, and oh, it's absolute bollocks! Anyway, on to Battle Network 3, I suppose. Are video games art? Ooh, go on, let's do that. Let's sort out whether or not video games are art. Does it matter? What do they mean to you? What do they mean to me? Excitement? Disappointment? A slowly sinking feeling of dread? Who cares? It doesn't matter if they're art. It's not important. You demand they be recognised as art. You sound like a fucking clitoris. It's not important to whether or not you enjoy yourself playing them. All this Gears of War is fun, but it's not art, is it? Better stop, better put the controller down. You're standing in an art gallery looking at, I don't know, some modern art, packet of Rolos on a plinth. You're like, that's not art. What happens when you decide? What happens when you say it's not art? What happens to the Rolos? Nothing. They're still delicious. They don't change form or content. Art games, that's a bullshit term, isn't it? Oh, you don't like Fez? Is it better because it's art? Graphics, gameplay, sound, control, artness? It doesn't affect the game, does it? If the story resonates with you, if it does something clever with its mechanics it doesn't make it better than Gunstar Heroes because it's an allegory for your dead cat or whatever. I mean, you know, art is good. I like art. I like video games. I don't think they're the same thing, personally. I think a good video game is a good video game, and a piece of art is a piece of art. And if you disagree, that's fine. But if you think people are looking at you and going, ugh, he's playing video game, that's not art, what a dickhead. They're not. And if they were, who cares? You can enjoy games on any level you want to. That's why they're good. You can go playing fucking Halo with your pals or whatever. You can go and play The Witness, all like, he cuts to the bone. And you're having a worthwhile experience either way, it's fine. Are video games art? Not a relevant or interesting question. And if they're not, what then? Are people not going to write about them anymore? No. Are people not going to analyse them? No. Those things will always happen. Games will always be fun. Art? Fart. Fucking care, mate. I know what you want. You want frogs. There's this game called Frogger. Little arcade game, bit of a classic. You might have heard of it, maybe. Well, it's great. You jump this little frog around, and he has to cross a road and then across a pond to rescue his little tadpoles. And that's it. And it's not really fodder for a long-running franchise. Ha ha! I got you! It's the video game industry. They kept putting out Froggers. There's a couple on PS1, the creatively titled Frogger, which blends the gameplay of the original with exploration. And Frogger 2, Swampy's Revenge, fucking swampy, and it's like the same, but with more linear stages, more like a platformer. And Swampy's Revenge was the template for all these handheld games on the GBA. Temple of the Frog, Frogger's Adventures the Lost Relic, Frogger's Journey, Frogger Beyond, all on GBA probably. Some of those might actually be the same game, but there are at least 3 or 4. Or 5. And then on DS alone, there's My Frogger Toy Trials, that's the real name of the game, which is like some sort of weird Pokemon/Frogger crossover that there's no good footage of on the internet. And there's Frogger Helmet Chaos on PSP. Let me tell you, after my circumcision, I know all about Helmet Chaos. That's quite crass, I might cut that out. No, who has the time? It doesn't matter. Anyway, my point is, there are so many of these games, who is buying them? Well, it's me. I'm buying them because I love them, so fuck off. They remind me of the more reflexes-based levels of Ship's Challenge, seminal tile-based Atari Lynx and Windows game. It's that sort of one tile at a time movement. It lends itself so well to precision, and Frogger offers me that kind of gameplay. It's challenging and satisfying. In fact, the other day I went into CEX and saw Frogger 3D on the shelves. I didn't even know it fucking existed. I nearly shit myself with excitement. That's me. That's the kind of show you're watching, a man who nearly shits when he sees a Frogger sequel. Feel free to unsubscribe. Hi, welcome back to the mailbag. I've got another bit of fan mail here, let's just take a look. Dear Stu, I just want to say that I thought the Sierra feature was sophomoric and a waste of time. I mean, your argument was literally get good. That's pathetic. Sierra games are terrible shit, not even close to the clever design and subtle humour of LucasArts adventures such as Dare the Tentacle, Full Throttle and Grim Fandango. Yours faithfully, Tim Schafer. Oh, fuck this.
Most people think I'm too difficult, but you really get me!
I mean, they tell you to save often. What are they complaining about?
Yes, exactly! Oh my god!
I know, right? Drink more! I'm playing Sonic on the Master System at a family friend's house. I run into the first enemy because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I cry. I'm playing Stunt Car Racer on Spectrum. Because it's impossible, I die repeatedly. In a rage, I slam my fist into the wooden table. My mother, shocked at this unprecedented outburst of prepubescent anger, takes the game away. I cry. I'm playing Castle of Illusion for the Master System, and lose all my lives. Mickey Mouse sits outside the Dark Castle as gloomy Sunday tier depressing music plays. He seems to stare out of the screen at me into my soul. Why? Why have you done this? Mickey Mouse, the happiest character ever, the patron saint of being needlessly chipper, and I made him sad, because I failed. Hey, but I turned out okay. Oh god, why is the void chasing me? Winky is one of the animal buddies that the titular Donkey Kong and non-titular Diddy Kong can ride in the original Donkey Kong Country for Super Nintendo. He can be utilised to do high leaps, as frogs are wont to do, in order to reach extra bananas and letters such as O and G. Additionally, it's worth bearing in mind that Winky is a slang term for the penis. I overslept, but I'm just in time for my Fucking chimp. Sonic was the fucking shit back in the day, as opposed to today when it's just, fucking shit. So every developer wanted a piece of that attitude pie, and we got a surplus of Badical mascots on the home consoles, and it is in this feature that I want to examine some of said mascot games. And one.
Awesome, Kickstarter machine knows what? I'm awesome!
First, a little clarification. Despite his frequent insistences otherwise, Awesome Possum is not awesome. He may, however, kick Dr. Machino's butt at some point. It's hard to care, as Awesome Possum's game is so uninspired and gimmicky that it's a real challenge to beat even one level without losing the will to live. See, Awesome Possum never shuts the fuck up. Developers Tengen figured that by cramming the game with a metric ton of admittedly decent quality sampled speech, they could wow the players into ignoring the awful graphics, terrible performance, sprawling empty levels, brain-hemorrhaging sound, and tiresome environmental message. As Dr. Machino himself says,
You're not so awesome! Now I can really jump!
2. Dinosaurs. Big, cumbersome phalluses of evolution that ate each other for ages, then killed over and died. Worthless. Thankfully, Radical Rex is, naturally, radical. Not only can he breathe fire, he can also skateboard. Show me a Stegosaurus that can do either of those things and I'll eat my game hat. Yes, I own one. It's brown. Anyway, Radical Rex is a fairly standard platformer in terms of its mechanics, but the level design is enjoyably convoluted and the locations are quite inventive. You'll never forget splashing around in a Brontosaurus' stomach lining. There's hidden secrets all over the place that add a sense of reward, as well as a large number of expansive stages, with a great little twist at the halfway point that I won't spoil. See, unlike Awesome Possum, this critter can actually back up his claims of radicalness. Three? The eponymous creature of this US Japan only title appears to be some sort of mutated sneaker-wearing duck, not a million miles away from Sega's own Bean the Dynamite in fact. However, Socket doesn't waste his time throwing bombs at people, he likes to plug himself into the mains, I am not making this up, and haul ass around disappointingly small levels, kicking 7 shades of shit out of any bad bastard foolish enough to cross him. The game is pretty inconsistent, with speed-focused levels being followed by ones that require extremely precise platforming, meaning that you can't simply blast through the thing mindlessly. There are also some rather irritating maze stages in which you're likely to encounter the same scenery over and over again as you search in vain for the exit. Thankfully, it's not all bad. The graphics are decent and colourful, although Socket himself is deeply unappealing, and the music is rather good. The presentation of the game is fairly reminiscent of the later Greater Dynamite Heady. It's got a similar feel to Telmet's Adventure / Marvel Land, also on the Mega Drive. Overall, Socket succeeds in not being terrible. Its name also succeeds in sounding enough like Sonic to trick well-meaning grannies into buying it for eventually disappointed children. Clever, Vic Tokai, very clever. 4. Dashin' Desperados is similar to Sonic in the sense that you are dashing, and that's it. It's extremely tenuous a reason to include the game in this feature, but worthwhile considering that this is the best multiplayer game on the Mega Drive, besides arguably Mega Bomberman. The premise is nonsense. Essentially, you and a friend each take the role of a potential suitor for a pixelated sex bomb who exploits your hormonal eagerness by offering a kiss to whoever completes her arbitrary tasks, which usually means a race. First one to the end wins the girl's heart, but there's a catch. Either player can assault their opponent with all manner of weapons to get there first. Bombs, ice, fire, sweeping kicks, or simply rolling over them are all fair game. Things get frantic quickly and the game descends into the best kind of chaos and disorder. You'll shout, you'll swear, you'll laugh like a drain, and all over a woman. Ah, memories. Five. I'm going to court controversy here by stating that James Pond 3 is magnificent and better than any Sonic game could ever hope to be. Now, if you haven't immediately stopped the video and set off my blood, I shall explain why. First, it's huge. Huger than Sonic 3 and Sonic & Knuckles, in size, if not in scale, and huger than Super Mario World, and with a more interesting map to boot. This game packs in 102 levels, and none of them are just lazy repeats of earlier efforts. This game is, to put it bluntly, a behemoth. In order to finish it, not only must you reach the end and defeat the evil Dr. Maybe, do you get it? An act which in itself is punishing in its difficulty. You must also destroy all the Stiltonium mines. Don't ask, something to do with the stupid plot. Rescue the captured agents, one of whom can then be used as a second playable character, adding yet more depth to an already saturated game. Find the secret treasures of the moon, which are entirely optional, and explore all the secret levels, of which there are several dozen. James Pond 3 is, by far, the best platformer on the Genesis, and I demand you play it this instant. Oh, and it's in this feature because you can run on the walls and ceilings. Like Sonic. Yeah. Playing Medal of Honor Frontline, the first mission is the D-Day landings, and it's really, really hard. I kept dying over and over thinking, man, this is kind of bullshit. Then I realised that the actual D-Day landings were probably quite hard too, so it's fairly realistic in that sense. Then I thought to myself, that's probably the most insensitive thought I've ever had. So, bravo EA. Shatterhand is an action game for the Nintendo NES, or NES, and it's pretty obscure. You probably haven't heard of it unless you saw it mentioned in Scott Pilgrim, in which case, this is you massive hipster. No, I'm just kidding, I actually really like Scott Pilgrim. Look, my copy is signed. Yours isn't, so fuck off. Boom! In the face! You know, sometimes you just know something's going to be good. You just know. Everything about the presentation of Shatterhand is shit hot. I mean, look at it. The colours pop, the backgrounds are awesome, the sprites are clear and basic while still being impressively intricate. It's one of the all-time best looking games on a system that already benefits from a distinct and evocative look. Shatterhand was originally a Japanese game based on a TV show called Super Rescue Soul Brain. I don't know what this is, but it was localised into this superlative leaping and punching simulator in which instead of a Power Ranger, you play as a bodacious 90s dude, possibly named Badical Radsworth. You'll have noticed those little Greek letters at the top of the screen. If you collect 3, you summon a little robot pal whose abilities and appearance depend on the order in which you collect either the alpha or beta icons. For example, Alpha Alpha Beta AAB here summons a little laser shooting drone, while Beta Alpha Alpha BAA summons a giant mechanical sheep with razor sharp wool. Nah, I'm joking. Shatterhand isn't an original game. NES action platformers are 10 a penny, but the sheer style and flair with which it's delivered really elevates the game into the higher tiers of the genre, as represented on Nintendo's amazing 8-bit. It's tough but fair, requiring careful thinking to tackle even the simplest seeming enemy, except for this guy, he's a piece of piss. The game cribs the stage selection gimmick from Mega Man, which is always welcome, because it means that if you get stuck on a particular stage, and you probably will, you can go and bang your head against another one.
Its design is linear, but it's compact and intricate in a satisfying way. It's an obstacle course, and one that encourages you to get just that little bit further. I mentioned earlier about the NES having a distinct look, and that's true, but it also extends to a feel that's very difficult to describe. Shatterhand has it in spades. With certain NES games, you can just look at them and know that's going to feel great to play, it's going to be smooth, it's going to be responsive, it's going to be a blast. NES action games that are fast, vivid, colourful, like the most exciting looking video games ever. Even today, even to an adult, the video games ever made are on the NES. Mega Man 2, Bucky O'Hare, Monster in My Pocket, Zen, Battletoads vs Double Dragon, DuckTales 2, Batman Revenge of the Joker, Rescue Rangers, Gargoyles Quest 2, Contra! I mean, I'm going to court controversy now and say the SNES, when it came to action games, wasn't a patch on its daddy. I mean, of course, there are fast, enjoyable action games on the SNES. Claymates, Aladdin, Contra 3, others that I haven't listed, obviously. But it's a system that, to my mind, is most fondly remembered for its RPGs. And that's fine, but then what successor does the NES have? Where did all the fast-paced, loud, vivid action games go? Oh no, he didn't! This is not a console wars piece. I think both the Genesis and the SNES have their merits. They deserve their acclaim. But I think their strengths were distinct, and I think the NES ethos of fast, hard gaming migrated to the Genesis. Even the Genesis versions of multi-platform action games were often faster and superior. Chaos Engine, Earthworm Jim and Mickey Mania stand out. But fast and hard is what the NES did, and it's what the Genesis does. What the Super Nintendo can, but often doesn't. Now, I love both systems. There are no RPGs on Genesis that can hold a barge pole to the mass influx of excellent ones on SNES. Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy VI, Terranigma, Secret of Evermore... No, I can't. But the Genesis has the NES's heart smack there in the middle of it. See? A commonly held sentiment among the more, let's say, core gaming community is the idea that gameplay takes precedence over graphics and sound, aesthetics. So basically the premise is that as long as the game mechanics are good, tight, whatever, then the aesthetics are irrelevant. Unfortunately, this is raving Jack Nicholson from The Shining level madness, because the aesthetics are the most important thing in any visual medium. Excellence in video gaming aesthetics isn't necessarily predicated on perfect artistry. After all, there are highly acclaimed oil painting looking video games out there that are boring shit. It's about cohesiveness, where your game's feel matches the aesthetics that it presents you with. A good example for me is Apogee's Monster Bash. Welcome back to Video World Monster Bash. A game that kind of looks like the programmers did the art. I mean, it's a little bit clumsy and a little bit intricate at the same time, but so is the game. The corny aesthetics fit the kind of corny gameplay. If they don't mesh, everything kind of falls apart. If Monster Bash had the same gameplay but looked, well, better, you'd be like, what the fuck is this shit? The stiff graphics fit the stiff gameplay. When I say stiff, I don't mean bad, I mean stiff. Castlevania is stiff, but you'd be a clown to call it bad. So I mean, I don't know about you, but that suggests to me that aesthetics are actually the single most important element of a video game. Think about, say, Adventure on Atari 2600. I mean, that's Atari 2600, so it looks like that, but it fits. Imagine if Adventure looked like Mankind Divided, it'd be awful. Your game's aesthetics have to match a game's feel. When a reviewer says something has good gameplay, they just mean that they like the game. That's all it means. A game, a video game, is not its mechanics, it's a package. And if that package fails hard on any of its individual elements, the whole experience starts to collapse. It all has to fit together. And that's why graphics are more important than gameplay. Oh, please. That's not really honest. It's fair enough perspective, really.
You're a fucking dick.
I've been playing Rise of the Tomb Raider's post-game recently and found that its closest analogue in the real world is the act of tidying up. Basically, you have this big map covered in little icons and you have to tidy it up. So you set a waypoint for an icon, press the right stick down to do OCD mode where you can see everything that needs, tidying up. And it's a lot of things, as you can see here, it's a lot of stuff. So then you go over to the thing that's glowing blue, that means tidy this up. This is the most important, this is the current thing to tidy up. Then you tidy it up, and then you look at the map and the icon is gone. You've tidied it up a bit, and you do that for hours, and then it says, you have tidied up 100% of this area. And that's, it seems like it's bad, and it seems like I'm being sort of snide. But when I'm in the right frame of mind, I find it relaxing, almost therapeutic. Like, I get to just move around and play with the really great controls. It feels good to move, and I get to tidy up. It's nice. I'll do an area, say, if I can tidy up this whole area, I'll reward myself with a digestive or something. So, tidying up, it's nice sometimes.
Morning.
Oh, fuck.
The Amazing Adventures of Mr. F.Lea is demented beyond human comprehension. You play as a flea and you have to pick a pup, and then it's just Frogger. Like, it's the same as Frogger with no differences. Well, I mean, there are dogs instead of frogs, but it's Frogger, not Dogger. Then you finish Frogger and pick another pup, and it's Donkey Kong. With the most bizarre, nonsensical perspective, it makes literally no sense to look at or play. But it's Donkey Kong, and there's no cats apparently. So then you finish that and go to the next stage, and it's I don't know what this is. Maybe Circus Charlie. That's just a guess. So but you're swinging on tails, like dog tails and cat tails, jumping from tail to tail, and oh Christ, look at that top right one. That's a cock. So anyway, next one is another thing where I don't know what it is. You are climbing up a dog's back, but because you are a flea, and you pop balloons, then that ends, and you just sort of loop it. You do it all again, and it's ludicrous. But it's actually quite a good idea, because if you only have like 1 quarter, you would get to play 4 games in the arcade, and at least 2 of them are just other arcade games. Like normally a quarter would get you a game of Frogger or Donkey Kong, but with Mr. F.Lea you get both of those and more on 1 coin. So that's pretty cool, really. And that's the first edition of my new MAME, that's Multiple Arcade Machine Emulator, feature, Dank Mames. I might rename it. Or should I say, remame it? No, I suppose I should say rename.
As regular viewers will know, and hey, regular viewers, you and me, buddy, you and me. I grew up with a ZX Spectrum Plus 2, a tape-loading little miracle. I used to play games like Count Duckula, Ollie and Lissa, Ninja Hamster, and the immortal perfect Head Over Heels. We also had this raw fucking nightmare that scared the ever-living fucking shit out of me. I mean, look at it for motherfuck's sake. Yeah, we'll just give this to a kid. Fucking hell. Even seeing it now that I'm the world's foremost authority on gore cinema and kind of unsettled. Look at it. And the game itself isn't much better. I later found out that the image is from a Lovecraft anthology, and why would you let me have this? I had literal nightmares about this. Why does this exist? Why did I have to look at it? Why? It's not soft and cuddly at all, it's actually horrific. And oh, that's the irony, isn't it? That's why they called it that. Yeah, I see now.
Yeah, I got you another massive drink of alcohol, and I thought maybe we could...
I'm fucking the chimp. He's got money, Stu.
Fucking chimp, man.
Well, it's about time I talked about this one, isn't it? Alex Kidd in Miracle World is a game that it's difficult for me to find fault with, even though its faults are right there, because it's one of the first games I ever played on a console and I have passionate, loving feelings towards it, hence the name of this show, hence the motif. It's essentially a platformer with some incredibly light adventure RPG elements which take that classic form of miss an out-of-the-way item, fail to progress without incredible luck. The biggest point of contention are the boss battles, which take the form of rock, paper, scissors or Janken games. Only the first one is really an issue because it is luck-based, unless you've memorised the order, rock, scissors, but after that you can get an item called a telepathy ball that makes them a lot less taxing because you can see what your opponents are thinking and react accordingly. Much of the game is about gathering money to buy awesome items to give yourself an advantage, though the game can be beaten without them. It's really, really, really hard though, so it's best to just get saving. Variety is brought to the mix by some fun vehicle sections with a speedboat, a personal helicopter, and a motorcycle that allows you to... what the fuck is that?! Frogs! Everywhere! Frogs! They don't stop coming! They don't stop coming! Frogs! I mean... it had been a long time with nothing major, just some virtual console re-releases of questionable quality, and, it's nice that they'd bothered with the more obscure games, but nothing much going on with Mega Man. Then they announced something, and it's old, it's a retro collection, it's Mega Man Legacy Collection, and, great. Capcom remembers that Mega Man exists. And it's a physical product and digital. It's on the modern consoles, it's on PC for the first time, it's on 3DS so you can take it out with you, and it's just $15. And that was exciting, but the fans were like, no, this isn't enough. It's Mega Man 1 through 6 on NES, we've played those, we don't want those. That already got collected, and it had Mega Man 7 and 8 too, with the arcade games. Mega Man Legacy Collection, what are you trying to pull? And I'm thinking, you wanted Mega Man, you got Mega Man. And there were lots of little challenge missions and a museum, a gallery of super high-res scans of all of the concept art, but no, it wasn't enough for the gamers. Why not stick 8, 9, 10 on there? Why not the X series as well, the Zero series? It's not like it can't fit on the disc, it's a ROM dump. These were collected 11 years ago on dead hardware. Why should I buy these games when I can download them illegally for free? When I can play them illegally in the browser? $15 for 6 critically acclaimed beloved games, complete with copious supplementary material. Cash grab. And then it comes out, and there's maybe some slight sound glitches. So you get, don't support these devs. Vote with your wallet. And they patch the sound glitch, but it's too late then. The first impression has already been made. The gamers have spoken. And these slight porting issues kill it. Like, that's that. Mega Man Legacy Collection sucks. And so, nothing since then. No Mega Man. Because there is no way to win, so goodbye, Mega Man. May you find everlasting peace in death. Merry Christmas. No, I'm not doing Stu and the Chimp anymore. You can just do the Chimp. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't like the Chimp. He's trying to ruin my life. Look at him. He's thinking, I don't even know what he's thinking about. He's probably wants to fuck me in the arsehole or something. I don't want that. I don't want a Chimp to fuck me, okay? I don't know, maybe there's not even plan. I don't want to do Stu and the Chimp. I'm not doing the Chimp.
We need the Chimp, Gipp. Chimp's tracking well. Kids love the Chimp, right, kid?
I love the Chimp.
See? Kids love the Chimp.
I don't care if kids love the Chimp. I don't care if you love the Chimp, kid, okay? Sorry, I don't care. I'm not working with the Chimp. I don't love the Chimp. It's my show. You know what? No, you're fired. You're fired, Chimp. You're fired.
Why can't I just walk up there? I can do this. But I can't just walk up there. Oh, I can jump up the side, okay. Video games are stupid.
It's my opinion that popular games can't possibly be reasonably considered bad. Sorry, but millions of people can't be wrong. About, everything anyway. You see a lot of criticism of stuff like Call of Duty, for example, which seemed to me disingenuous and based on its popularity.
You see, the reason it's so popular is that it's the pinnacle of what it does, and what it does is a mass appeal FPS you can play online with swearing teenage racists. Now, see, that's me being a dick. You can play with anyone, because so many people are playing, and every single game in that series has basically had scorn poured on it since Modern Warfare 2. Just a series that gets ripped on for not evolving, for not innovating. Then everything the developers do to try and innovate also gets crapped on. It's because it's popular, even among those who wouldn't necessarily identify as a gamer. The people demanding innovation are the same people who want Resident Evil to go back to its fixed camera and bad controls roots. The same people who decried the Devil May Cry reboot for being accessible and stupid. As opposed to the original games, which are mystifying in the systems and equally stupid.
I should have been the one to fill your dark soul with light!
I find it all baffling, really, because while there are obviously games I don't care about, like, any given sports game, like Madden, like any strategy game, really, RTS, turn-based, I can't be arsed with any of them. But I don't denounce them on that basis. I don't think XCOM is shit because I don't like it. I don't play Call of Duty multiplayer ever, but if your game is the absolute leader of its genre, it's doing something right. Angry Birds, I'm not the biggest fan, but it was offering something that really worked for people. Even Pokemon Go, I couldn't give less of a shit, but people are literally stampeding to get a digital fuckachoo. So, good for them, great. The game obviously has merit that I'm incapable of appreciating. There's something there. I just find it weird, man. I got talking about the aforementioned Devil May Cry reboot a short while ago and was instantly met with this sort of baffling response of disbelief that I enjoyed it more than the preceding titles. Like, that's an opinion that can't possibly exist held with sincerity. Like, the complainer is the arbiter of taste and distinction, where no such thing exists in the medium of video games, and stop pretending that they're fucking art, for Christ's sake. I think I went off on a bit of a tangent there.
A long time ago I was playing Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the Master System, as I was wont to do, and I just could not find the red Chaos Emerald. All of the others, no problem, but the red one eluded me. I knew it was in the Gimmick Mountain zone, but for the life of me I couldn't figure out where, despite combing every inch of every stage. Frustrated, I went to bed, and that night I dreamed of Sonic. I dreamed of him navigating the Gimmick Mountain stage and coming to a seemingly innocuous piece of scenery which he passed through like a spectre, locating the elusive red emerald. When I awoke, this was fresh in my memory. I booted up the game and played through to the stage in question. Surely not. Surely it couldn't be. But it was. My dream had come true. A premonition had led me to the red emerald. Some unseen outside force guided my hand, guided my way to this hidden treasure. I was gobsmacked. A premonition. And that really fucks me off. You maybe get one supernatural experience in your life, and I wasted mine on Sonic. I could have had a useful premonition like, oh shit, something massive is about to run you over, better get out of the...